Hello, hello, my loves. Welcome. We are going to be discussing a much needed topic that I think will hopefully answer questions and will hopefully give some closure for myself and maybe for some of my clients. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the question a couple of you have asked me and my own question for myself for the last year is, why did I stop doing mediumship? So, if you want to hear what I have to say and my story and just sharing my heart with you, please keep watching. Okay, so my bruises are still visible. I feel like I have to talk about this for each video right now because it's so obvious. So if you do see my bruises, if you didn't see my last video, if you're new here, I was in a car accident last weekend. So, so what you're seeing is the end result of the car accident, and the bruising is still there, and we are getting through it, but that's what that is. So if you see a bruise peek through, just pay it no mind. It bugs me because I could see it, and I'm sure it just doesn't look the best, but we're doing what we can. I want to light a candle because I need the topic of this video is a little bit sensitive for me. So I want to set the intention, and I also just want to invite you to kind of get yourself in a space where you will not be disturbed, where you can rest, where you can be relaxed. And this is just kind of like a coming together type of energy or type of video. I am going to light a brand new candle. This is one of the candles that I make in the scent Crystal Shop. So I'm going to set that intention right now. Let's take a collective deep breath in. So close your eyes, and you could either place your hand over your chest, or you can, put it over your belly or nowhere, wherever you feel called. Let's take a collective deep breath in and breathe out slowly. Another deep breath in and breathe out slowly. And as we're here today, Spirit, I just want to ask that I open this beautiful sacred circle, that whoever watches this video, whether it is now or months or years from now, may this same energy be set. I just set this intention of a calming, soothing, peaceful space where we can open our heart and have a very authentic and deep conversation. This is a safe space, and I set that intention with lighting this candle. There we go. Okay, and I do have some of my Luna Hour spray. I just got these little spray toppers. I had to buy new ones because the little ones that I had they weren't working anymore. So I'm going to spray some Luna Hour spray. It is a lavender scented spray meant for calming and relaxation. So I love it. Okay. So why am I no longer doing mediumship? Okay. So first off, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the past. I came into mediumship in 2020. So prior to 2020, I knew what mediumship was. It was always a goal. It was always something that I wanted to learn, something I wanted to be able to do. I used to watch other mediums do their thing, and I used to really, really wish I could be that kind of person. And I really wanted to be able to do that kind of work. It didn't really fall into my lap until 2016, when my brother passed away. And when his passing happened, it kind of boosted me. It boosted my intuition. It opened me up more than what I was already open. And I was connecting with his energy and receiving messages from him, and really deep dreams with him, and just a lot of spirit connections that were being made with my brother. And that's kind of where I left it for a while. And then 2020, I signed up for a mentorship program with one medium. She did like it was like a 5 class kind of a thing. And at the time I was doing that mentorship class, that 5 week thing, with one of my really good friends at the time. We were doing it together. It was like a fun kind of a thing for us to bond, and like we would go to these classes and they were all done on Zoom, and it was just this beautiful experience of like opening up and practicing and doing mediumship. And as with any classes that you take, you start to see the same faces in these classes. And my friend and I signed up for some other classes. I signed up for some other stuff with other mediums. And I started to see the same people in these classes. So you're kind of starting to form this community connection. And then I signed up for another mentorship program with another medium, and it was like a 6-week boot camp. And I did that one solely on my own. My friend did not sign up for that one. So it was kind of a different experience with this particular mentor because she really became my main mentor. And then there was another mentor that my friend and I did stuff with, and this mentor turned into more of a friend. So it kind of just like grew from there. So needless to say, there was like a lot of connections, right? So that was like 2020, 2021. And then in 2022, I was kind of I was already doing mediumship readings. I was doing like paid mediumship readings. I was kind of blending it. I was going back and forth. I was blending it with my tarot sessions. And then I was doing like soul, complete one-on-one mediumship. With mediumship, you will have your days where you are fully connected, and then you will have days where your connection is just crap. And that is just the way it goes with mediumship. It's like sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not. And it's really hard to navigate that kind of like on and off with your abilities, because all you want to do is to be able to perform or be able to provide the messages for your client's loved one. And if you're not getting anything, it's almost embarrassing, or it's almost like you feel like you're letting them down, you're disappointing them. So there was a lot of pressure that was starting to come with this kind of work. And it was a different type of pressure, a different type of expectation than what I was used to with my tarot or my psychic readings. In late 2022, I had ended up having a falling out with the friend that I was doing a lot of this mediumship development with. I also had a falling out with a few other people in that same community, including one of the mentors. And then in 2023, I had another falling out with peers. So it was just kind of like this like tower moment after tower moment after tower moment that I was experiencing. And it was all around the world of mentors or other mediums or other students or peers of mediumship. And like mediumship was kind of like the core of it. That's like the thing that brought us all together. And I think because I was navigating my grief journey, it sounds so serious. Like now that I think about it, like it took me a long time to get over the friendship, but like now that I'm like on the other side of it, it's silly. It feels silly to say it was a grief journey, but it literally was. Like when you lose a friend, have a friendship fallout with someone that is very close to you or that is very special to you, the grief journey is real. So I went through my grief journey, and it took me a solid year to finally like feel good, to finally feel like I can get over it, right? And I just felt like I was literally having the tower moment after tower moment. And it was just this destruction of my, almost like the foundation that I had just created with my mediumship work. So when I say I was having multiple tower moments, this is the card I'm talking about. It's tarot talk, right? So the tower card represents changes and shifts in someone's life. These are changes, shifts. Sometimes it's good changes, sometimes it's bad changes, but the result is something that is needed. So a lot of the times when we go through a tower moment, it may suck in the process, but the outcome is something that we needed to have happen. And it's almost like the universe or God forced whatever needed to shift and shake up in your world in order for that new foundation to be there. So everything that I had built since 2020 in terms of my mediumship portion of my business and the friends that I made, the peers that I was working with, and, just the development classes and all of that, it was this new foundation that I had built for myself. And during these friendship fallouts and drama and this and that, and it just was a lot that was happening all at the same time. It was a tower moment. I also want to say too, side note, I am not putting any blame on other people. When I mention these friendship fallouts, I was solely responsible for my portion in some of these things. I'm not putting any blame on anyone else, but this was, the experience of it, the experience of a fallout, the experience of this and that. Going through all of that, feeling like, because at the time, it's like this was somebody that I looked at as a mentor. These are people that I looked at as friends and peers and people I was seeing in classes, It kind of shook me up a bit because you put your trust in a mentor. You put your trust in these peers and whatnot. And when you're doing mediumship development, you're opening a part of yourself up, especially if you've gone through a grief journey with a loved one who's passed, which I have. You're opening yourself up to these people in a way that maybe you never really opened up to, just to anyone. Some of these people knew so much more about me than people in my own family, It really put a bad taste in my mouth for mediumship. And I was angry and hurt. And I think I was using that anger and hurt against the mediumship community and against just not even wanting to do anything or have anything to do with it because I was hurt and angry and all of the above, right? As a result of that, I made the decision to not take any classes. I stopped doing any kind of mediumship development. I canceled, because I had signed up for another 5-week mentorship program with the original mentor that I first started off with. And I ended up canceling that mentorship because of everything that was going on in the background. I just didn't feel comfortable. And I was kind of in this place where I was like, I don't want to, what if so-and-so is going to be in the class? It was just like that kind of weird feeling. And I just didn't want to bring my personal stuff into a class that, it's not necessary. So my decision to get out of that mentorship was my decision. So I didn't take it. That was the last mediumship thing that I have taken since. I haven't done anything. My development pretty much came to a complete stop. I want to say it was maybe towards the end of 2023, I took a break from mediumship. I took off the offerings from my website. And I wasn't advertising mediumship anymore. I was I just didn't want to do it anymore. Every once in a while in a client one-on-one session, when they would book a tarot reading, if I felt a loved one come through, I would relay a message because that's just kind of how I work. So I was still having that happen, but I wasn't going out of my way to advertise mediumship readings. And the end of 2023, I was so burnt out, you guys. Not just from mediumship, but just in general, from social media, from life, from everything, my own business. So much had shifted in my own personal business. So much that I let go of that I didn't do anymore. There's just a lot, and I don't want to get into it because it's too sensitive for me. And I ended up taking a break. I pretty much, I think it was from October through the 1st of January, I really just didn't touch my social media account. I really just took a step back. And then this year came and I started putting out reels, and like I was really trying to get back into Rachel Spirit and Soul, really trying to get back into my account. And I still did not feel called to do mediumship. It just wasn't, it hasn't been on my radar. Obviously, like within the last month, I signed up for an astrology course, and I've been doing that for the last 6 weeks. And that's kind of brought back some life and light into me. And I realized this is the pathway I want to take. So I haven't offered a mediumship reading in probably 6 months. I've done some mediumship here and there in tarot sessions, but even recently, I started telling myself no more. I started reminding my clients if they book a one-on-one, I'm not doing mediumship. I'm really trying to pull away from that because it just doesn't feel right for me right now. Maybe later on in the future, I'll get back into it, but there's too much hurt around that community. And there's too much just sadness and resentment and anger, from at least from my perspective. And I just really don't have the interest in bringing that energy into a classroom space or a mentorship space or whatever. So I really just feel like it's best for me to not be a part of that right now. So there's that. That's like one piece of why I'm not doing mediumship anymore. The other side is something I think a lot of us don't talk about is the physical experiences of doing mediumship, the physical repercussions of it. Energy work, intuition, psychic work, mediumship, spirit connection, all of that. You are raising your vibration to connect with a spirit and you're meeting them halfway, okay? And when you're going to these classes and stuff, you're taught how to do that. And you yourself are learning how to hold the connection. And it takes time and it takes practice. But when you're doing this, eventually what comes up must come down. And when I would come down from my reading high, if you will, when I would come down from that, I would have days where I would be so exhausted. I would just lay around the house, take naps. Some days, depending on the client, there were days where I was craving certain foods, and I feel like it had a lot to do with that client's energy that I worked with. There was days where I would have really bad stomach aches or headaches. It was like one or the other. And I do feel like it was the energy that I was filtering through my body when I was connecting with that loved one in spirit or with that client or both. The way I personally read, even when I'm doing psychic readings, like tarot readings and stuff, I read people's energy. I feel their energy in my body. That's kind of how that's how I filter it. I filter it through me. But when you add in mediumship, it is another layer to that. So it's a lot. It's very, very, very time consuming and exhausting. It's a lot on the body energetically. Physically, I started to just not feel like myself. Like I said, I was having the headaches. I had really bad stomach cramping sometimes. I was kind of getting into this place of not wanting to do the reading before the reading would happen. Another way that I connect is 24 hours prior to a session that is booked, I'll start to feel connections with my client. So sometimes I'll have dreams, sometimes I'll have visions or stuff will come to me, and I usually will, make a note of it so I could talk to my client about it later. I don't mind that. That's kind of like an agreement that I would have with spirit that, okay, this is the way we're going to read. This is how it goes. But even that was a lot after a while. I would always open up my sessions, my mediumship sessions, with a candle. So I would always say a prayer and light a candle. And then I had this agreement with spirit, when I blow the candle out, we're done. You have to leave. And I never had problems of spirit not leaving. They always would leave. And I never had problems with my house feeling, like invaded by spirit. I never had any issues with that. I was very good with cleansing my space. I was also very good with cleansing myself. I would start to take showers and just like wash the energy off of me, or light some incense or whatever I felt like I needed at the time. But the emotional and the physical on my body was what I was being challenged with more. And it started to feel like I wasn't myself. I feel like my depression, my little gray cloud started to creep in more, way more than what it usually does. And that to me was a problem, because that just really, it ruins the flow of the day. It could ruin the connection that I have with other clients, or it could mess with my, my personal life. So when I started seeing these things interfere energetically with myself in personal ways, I knew something had to change. And I don't think a lot of readers really talk about that, but there's a lot of heavy energy that we work with, and it does take a toll on the body. So there were times where I would only take 1 or 2 mediumship readings a week, or every couple weeks. And that's not every session. Let me just say that too, because not every session, not every client was like this. Some of my client sessions were so like easy flow. It was no problem. Some of them were harder because the client themselves was blocked off, or they weren't ready. And that was another issue that I was starting to see happen with doing mediumship, is that sometimes someone will book and they're literally not ready for the reading because their grief journey is still very heavy. They have expectations. They're just not ready to receive. And so a lot of times when I was in that session, I would hit blocks. I had one where I just didn't feel spirit at all. So, I would have to make that decision. Hey, I'm not feeling it. Let's cut this, let's cut this reading. Like it was like, I would try to cut it off within 10 minutes and do a refund, because it just wasn't working. And, I don't mind doing refunds for clients on a case by case basis, but a refund is a little inconvenient for me. Because it's kind of like, okay, that was my money, and then now I'm giving it back, and did I already spend it, So it just became a little bit inconvenient with the financial aspect. And the more frequent I was feeling kind of burnt out or just disconnected with these readings, the more I started to realize, I don't think this is right. I don't think this is how it should be. Maybe I need more development, So my decision to stop mediumship was based off of that as well. It kind of sucks when I think about it, because I do enjoy doing these, those types of readings. And when I look back on the past, that was a huge goal of mine. And when I realized, wow, I'm actually doing this, I'm actually connecting with spirit, I'm actually giving these messages, and, it was like a dream come true. But it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. I personally believe that I need more development with my mediumship. I do feel like I would definitely want to take on another mentorship if I chose to get back into it. But I think because of all of the unfortunate events that took place, between 2022 and 2023, with my peers and friends and this and that, I'm just turned off by it. And I don't really feel like it's the place that I want to be. So yeah, it's just been a journey, you guys. It's been hard having to, backtrack on something that I originally was so inspired to do. I know that I gained quite a few followers because of my mediumship, journey, but it's just not what I feel called to do anymore. And I completely understand if people, because I'm not offering it anymore, they don't want to follow, or they don't want to be a part of my journey anymore. That's totally fine. But I can't bring myself to do something I'm not feeling called to do. So I'm still doing one-on-one sessions, still doing, connection into intuitive tarot, psychic readings. I'm still connecting with your energy. I'm still feeling out the aura and all of that. And I'm still doing spirit guide messages, but The only thing I am no longer doing is I am no longer connecting with loved ones in spirit, and I am no longer bringing forward messages from loved ones in spirit. The only time I will do that is if they come to me first, and if I feel the connection is genuine and strong, then I will bring forward and relay the message. But I'm not going to sit through a tarot session that's for someone who paid for a tarot session. I'm not going to switch and do mediumship. I can't do that to myself. The energy exchange isn't balanced, and I don't want to burn myself out all over again. When you burn yourself out, it takes a lot of time to get back into the groove of things. And I have had so many multiple burnouts the last couple years because of mediumship and because all of the stuff that was going on in the background, that I just feel super protective right now of my peace, my time, my energy, and the respect that I feel like I deserve from people. And so to me, it's like, when I set a boundary of I'm not doing mediumship, I'm sticking with it. So yeah, that's pretty much, what's been going on behind the scenes. That is, why I'm no longer doing mediumship. If you guys have any other questions about it, if you have, if you're curious or you have questions about it, please feel free to leave comments below and I will do my best to answer. But yeah, I just wanted to share, that little tidbit with you guys, and hopefully that clears up some confusion. And yeah, we are allowed to change and we are allowed to shift and whatnot. And there's no shame in, a certain path no longer working for you. If you don't feel aligned by it and it doesn't feel right to you, it is okay to say, this is not for me and I'm going to move forward. I just thought I would share that and say that because I know I'm not the only one. So anyways, my loves, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being here with an open heart. And let's go ahead and blow our candle out. And I will talk to you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye, guys.